All right, our next interview is with State Representative Kathy Crawford. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Good
Rich.
seeing you. Yep. So let's start out with this question. Do you feel things in our area are going in the right direction or on the wrong track?
Well, in your area, you mean like in South Lyon? Or do you mean the district? In the district.
Yeah.
Because my district, the 38th district, is really Novi Township, Lyon, City of South Lyon, Lyon Township, Wild Lake, the Oakland County portion of Northville. So very similar communities, even if not size-wise, they're very similar. And I think things are going relatively well. I mean, I don't hear much in Lansing about problems and issues. I know everybody's worried about, not worried, but they're mad about the roads. We're trying to put more and more money into that. And of course, this is the season, so you see lots of barrels, and that just elevates everybody's anger a little bit, because they want them fixed, but they don't want to be inconvenienced. So
they want them fixed, but they don't want to drive around. I get that.
Right, yeah, I'm like that too. So, yeah, I get that.
Good.
Yeah.
So what are some of the initiatives that you're working on? What are some of the bills that you're sponsoring that we should be aware of?
Actually, we're just voting on a bill tomorrow, one of the ones that I'm sponsoring. It has to do with teacher preparedness. Okay. This is one thing, we just keep throwing more and more money at education, and yet we're at the bottom, near the very bottom in third grade reading. We're in the very bottom for our districts are doing great, but overall the whole state, we have a problem with education, and money doesn't seem to be the only answer. So we have a lot of issues to do with education. So the bill that I sponsored had to do with teacher preparedness, because we were hearing from universities and also hearing from districts that with the complexities of teaching today, with the technology and with all the other things going on in classrooms, teachers are being educated in schools for teachers. However, the teacher student is not really fully prepared for the classroom. So they need more time and they need more education. Plus they need continuing education to keep up with all the changes. And we've done a lot in education. I mean, I'm on the education committee, and we've done a lot of things to bring us into this century. For example, we said you don't have to have, coding actually is a language. We need to recognize in our schools that coding is something that's important to every industry now. Right. And so instead of making or forcing a person to take a foreign language, a student, why not allow them to take coding? Fulfill that requirement. So lots of things are going on in education. And overall, there's just lots of things going on.
Sure. What are some of in this district, not just South Lyon, but in this district, what are some of the areas of concern of residents? There's a lot of parks and lakes and rivers around here. So is DNR items issues, or how would you answer that?
Well, and one of the things that I have received calls on from South Lyon and Novi and other areas, people are very much worried about safety in schools. Okay. Guns in school. Yeah. And that has been a hot button item, and we're doing a lot in the way of researching. One of the problems is I know I keep seeing on websites and everything that I'm for guns in school, and that is not true. I feel like I want teachers to teach, and I want students and teachers to feel safe in their buildings. I don't think there's any teacher that goes to be educated as a teacher and thinks, oh, gee, I'd like to carry a gun too. I mean, I think that's not happening, right? So I heard in some school systems they're giving teachers bats. Baseball bats, small ones. And I think, we don't know how our buildings are. We don't know how hardened our buildings are by a professional in the security, arena. Sure. Schools can say, well, I think we should have a door here, or I think we shouldn't have windows, but to what the governor is trying to do now, and a task force has been formed, is to have experts go out to schools in Michigan and tell them what they need to do in case of emergencies. Where should exits be? Where should the entrances be?
So it's a per school by school thing.
Yes,
right?
Yeah. We're going to have, there's going to be professionals that will go out to all the schools, and that's the plan anyway. And then there will be people that we also will provide some monies for grants so that if schools needed money to improve their emergency preparedness, they'd be able to get some grants. Because I think administrators sometimes, we do all these things where you have to be buzzed into schools. There's not a school in Novi that I can go to that I don't get buzzed into. Same with South Lyon and any school I go to. However, my grandson, who's a high school student, said, "Oh, if you want to get in the building, you just come at this certain time. And if it's a former student, all you have to do is know that time." Yeah. So we need to have professionals take a look at it. And law enforcement people, and I've talked to all of them here in South Lyon and Novi and everything, none of them feel that arming teachers is a good idea. Okay. And I'm not in favor of that. Okay. The other issue is legalizing recreational marijuana. And that's something that has been a big discussion item also.
Okay. What's your position on that?
Well, my position actually, and once again, we had a task force that went all over the state about what are the issues, mental health issues, and it was mostly a health-related, family-related kind of task force that was looking at a wide variety of things. And we don't think recreational marijuana is healthy for Michiganders. I just don't feel it. Medical marijuana, yes. I mean, I think there is a place for medical marijuana, and we still haven't straightened out all the regulations on that. Okay. That's been very onerous, trying to get all the regulations, and too many cards were given out and that kind of thing. So I think there's that recreational marijuana is not going to be a good thing for Michigan. In states, we've already studied other states that have legalized recreational marijuana. Right. We have discovered that they have a much higher, really a much higher accident, impaired driving situation. Okay. We don't need that. We already have distracted driving, among other things. So that's a problem. So that the recreational marijuana is going to go to the ballot, because they have enough signatures for it to go to the ballot. Okay. But I sure would like for people to talk to their own law enforcement officers and see what they have to say, because without a doubt, and I've sat in on panels for your public safety people as well as the ones in Novi and other areas, and all of them believe that this is really a bad idea. And it's very hard to detect whether a person's impaired. We don't have the technology really to easily detect if a person is impaired when they're smoking marijuana or imbibing something in one way or another. So
complicated issues.
Nothing is easy in Lansing. I can tell you that. Right.
Well, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's finish up with learning a little bit more about you. What did you do before you were working in Lansing? And so.
Well, for one thing, I've lived in the district my entire life, all 75 years, 76 years now. I forgot. That's easy to forget when you're 76, right? So I've lived in the district my whole life. I actually grew up on a farm on Grand River in Novi years ago, and my husband lived there also. Our parents lived there. Our grandparents lived there. I actually was the founder and the director of the Novi Senior Center for over 25 years, retired from that job. And I have worked for a community action agency. I've done a lot of things, but I've done a great deal on the regional level with the county and everything with aging issues. Okay. There's a lot of things that I have done, helped to write the certification rules for senior directors and a variety of things like that. So I'm very much familiar with aging issues, and then I got to be aged myself, so I know a lot about it, right? So I know how to be old. You'd think I do, but I'm probably not really successful at it, but I mean that's where my heart is, and that's where my experience lies. Okay. And the beauty going, in fact, I was on city council for a while after I retired from the city of Novi. Okay. I was convinced that I needed to be there. And after I was on city council in Novi for 3 years, elected city council, then I was convinced that I should be on the Oakland County Board of Commissioners. Okay. Never was anything that I ever thought about, or, I just didn't. I really thought I'd be doing something else, maybe going to Florida, enjoying myself, with friends and everything. But no, that wasn't in the stars for me. Okay. But I don't think people get all this experience for no reason. I think all the experience that you get throughout your life, it should go somewhere, or you should use it to to help in some way or other. So that's what I've been trying to do. So I was elected the Oakland County Board of Commissioners and served 2 terms there.
Okay.
Then I was convinced to run to the State House. So I've been there 3 years.
Yep.
I'm happy to say that I've been on 8 committees now altogether in the 3 years. I've never ever missed a vote in committee, nor have I ever missed a vote on the floor of the House. I think the people here and in my district sent me there to vote.
Yeah,
And that's what I ought to be doing, right?
Good.
I mean, I ought to be there.
Yeah.
So I take it very seriously. I feel honored and privileged to be there. I feel very responsible for it. So I don't want to let the people down in my district. But because I've lived here my whole life,
Yeah.
I think I know a lot of the issues. Plus,
Sure.
I'm active, still active in my own city and in and around because I'm the chairman of the Novi Historical Commission. I guess because I'm the most historical thing there. Maybe that's a reason. I'm not sure, but I've been the chair of the Novi Historical Commission now for several years, and in a variety of women's clubs and things like that. So I think you've got as a legislator, you should be out in your community more. You should be in touch with the people and talking to people and interacting with them where they are. And that's one reason why I like to have coffees or things in the district, because I don't expect people here to drive to Lansing to meet up with me.
Sure.
And I think people sometimes think that's what they have to do. And I certainly don't want them to make that drive because I'm either in committee or I'm on the House floor voting. So I'm really not even in my office. No, I'm really not. And I know people would like to speak to me. So if they call my office at any time, and we have 2 staff, or I have 2 staff. One is usually out in the district with me, and the other one is in his full-time office in the office. So if they leave a message with a phone number, we'll call them back.
Okay.
And if they're on another line, they can't always do that. But I am actually having my next coffee here at the library, the South Lyon Library, and I brought the dates. May 17th.
Okay, super.
Which is a Thursday evening, and it's going to be from 5:30 to 6:30.
Okay.
Right here at the library. So if there's people here that would like to talk about an issue or just ask questions, usually in my coffees I just kind of give a little rundown of what's the latest and greatest going on.
Good.
And also tell them a little bit more about what's coming up or what we expect is coming up.
Excellent.
And I'll tell you one other issue that's really relevant here in this district is jobs.
Sure.
And it's skills training. We've been telling kids for decades, you must go to college, you must go to college.
Yeah.
And it's not for everybody.
You're right.
Really?
Yeah.
And we have so many high-tech businesses now in this area and in the district that want to do apprenticeships with these young people.
Yeah, you can't
And
find
they
them, right?
no, I mean, we've got kids that really could get an apprenticeship in high school, get their education paid for, and be making big money,
Yeah, good money, yeah.
really good money.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a big thing. I mean, the governor has a Marshall Plan in mind now that is going to really increase availability of these partnerships, and there'll be grants available to communities. So I really hope that our district will participate in a lot of those things.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, super. Well, thank you for coming and joining us
I
here
know
today.
there's always lots of issues to talk about. I know that everybody
do this
has a
every
lot
week.
of things. Yes, we could. We could, really.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you
But
very
thanks so
much.
much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Our pleasure.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.